So, we're still working towards getting the T-Rex. I feel like we need to set up some infrastructure, though. Welcome back, everyone, to Create Dinosaurs, episode 52, where, as you can see up here, I have done a little bit of work between episodes. And I have finally put a building here around all of our stuff, and I will admit, this was originally going to be its own episode, but it was just kind of not entertaining. So we have this nice little building here now, and I quite like the design. It's not originally what I intended to go for. I was gonna go with something much more modern and like actually lab looking and stuff, but like I like it. But anyway, that is not relevant to us today because as I said, we're gonna be working a little bit more towards getting our T-Rex. And what I mean by that is, you guys okay? You guys are having a bit of a standoff and I really don't like the fact that all the sauropods have gathered here. Are you guys okay? Why are you hungry? You get fed. Honestly, I give up with the dinosaurs, man. They are so picky. But yeah, so I want to work a little bit more on the infrastructure of our park. And when I say that, I am referring to the actual stuff leading to our T-Rex enclosure. Because if you remember, it's gonna go somewhere over here. Like, all the way past the aviary and everything. It's easier for me to just go on the map. It's gonna go, like, right over here somewhere. And of course, right now, we don't have any of the stuff set up for that. I mean, like, we've got a bunch of paths which come down here and literally end right there. There's a train line which stops here, but there's absolutely nothing else. I mean, like, there is literally nothing that can actually get us to the building location and stuff, which not only is not good for our guests, but also it's not good for me when I'm building it. I don't want to go on a hike every time. So we're going to be working on that today. I want to get all of the paths set up, getting over there, and also maybe extend the train line a little further. I still don't really know what I'm doing with this train station, honestly. But I do know that, of course, the track is going to need to go that way eventually and lead around the T-Rex enclosure at some point. So we might be extending it a little. But I think my first job with all of this, actually, isn't to go and build all of these paths. It's just to clear out all of this stuff. I mean, like, look, we've got a bunch of trees in the way. There's going to be a bunch of bushes in the jungle. There might be Komodo dragons. Oh. So yeah, I think first on the list of things we need to do today is I need to go and find wherever my saw is. Do I just have, like, a detached saw somewhere? I might not, actually. I might just need to go and make a saw blade. Okay. So there we go. Go and crush the iron. Have I got a crafting table? I have. And yeah, so I'll just go and make a mechanical saw, and we're also going to need a hand crank for this. There we go. Perfect. And right, so I've got everything I need. However, I think this tree is going to be a good example of some of the issues that we're going to face here. I didn't need to break that, actually. So, of course, in Create Mod, I can just go and put a hand crank on this saw here, but the thing is, since it's... Okay, no, it worked. I wasn't entirely sure if because the log was still connected to this sort of, like, building work that we've got here, I didn't know if it would actually cut down the tree. But also, the other thing that I need to wonder is, yeah, okay, so we're gonna get stuff like this where it's left vines up the side of our aviary and everything, and I'm still gonna need to destroy all of these manually. But at the end of the day, this is still, like, way quicker than it would have been if I had to cut down all of these trees block by block and stuff. Oh gosh, there's so many vines up here. But yeah, so I'm gonna go and get to work on this, and I think I will see you once we have got most of the stuff cleared out. Really? That... Oh my gosh. Wait, which one's Shimmer? What? Okay, so that took a lot longer than I expected. I have lost my diamond pickaxe and 2 dinosaurs have died. Honestly, it's going quite well by my standard of video. But yes, welcome back everyone. It has been like maybe 40 minutes to an hour, somewhere in that range. And as you can see, I have cleared out everything around the edge of the aviary and I forgot how hilly it is. I mean, just like, look at this hill. How do I put a staircase up that? What even is that? I am pretty sure this doesn't actually qualify as a hill anymore. I think it would count as a cliff. However, whilst the shape of the terrain is definitely inconvenient, it has given me a really nice idea to put somewhere. And that somewhere is this cliff around here, which is much steeper and much taller than the other side. However, the thing is, I would like to have a way up this hill that isn't a staircase and everything. At the end of the day, we're supposed to be a theme park. Accessibility is kind of a nice thing, you know? And also, slopes just allow for much more detail when building anyway, so I would rather do like a slope with a bunch of slabs than use a bunch of stairs. And on that side of the aviary, where we have a massive tall cliff all the way up there, I had a little bit of an idea. So I want to do a slope path, and of course that means it's going to need to zigzag back and forth. We can't just do a smooth slope all the way around. I'm pretty sure even if you started from there and consistently went round, you would not reach the top of the hill. So it will have to zigzag back and forth. But what if, when we have like cliff faces and everything, because of course there's going to be cliff faces next to the path and stuff, we put bones in it? Is that not an amazing idea? Like we could maybe even get a Silk Touch book and like go and get a bunch of actual fossil block, but we embed a bunch of bones into the cliff. Isn't that just a really cool idea? And it will look like a little archaeology site in the side of the cliff that you're walking up as you go to the T-Rex enclosure. This sounds really cool. Oh gosh, I left my bed all the way over there and I've just walked over here in the dark. That was my idea and it seems really cool and I really like it and I really want to do it now. And on the note of doing work like that, first of all, I need to go and chuck a bunch of this into the backpack here because it's taking up space. But we need to actually go and get some resources for this now. I have been really stupid and I did all of that work without considering the fact that I still need to go and get a bunch of stuff. However, luckily, since we are just doing pathways, the main block we are going to need is smooth stone, which, okay, we've already got a bunch of smooth stone here. But if I just go and take 9 stacks out of this, then over in the lab, which I built between episodes, there's been a little addition since you guys saw it last episode. We now have these conveyor belts here in the floor, and as you can see, so it's blasting, smoking, haunting, and washing, and basically, I can just go and take a bunch of stuff like this, dump it in there, and hopefully, it'll cook. But yeah, basically, we just go and chuck a bunch of stuff down here, it will make its way through, get blasted and everything, and then we just, you know, pick it up at the end. And there we go, look at that, 9 stacks of smooth stone mixed in with a bunch of other stuff all in a weird order. Now, as for other resources like andesite and cobblestone and stone and all of that sort of stuff, I mean, I've got farms for it, but I'm trying to like, you know, save some of it because we need a bunch of drills for the T-Rex enclosure. So I might see if I can find some alternative blocks, but I don't think I'm really going to be able to. I think I'm just going to need to sacrifice a bunch of resources for this. But yeah, I think what I am going to do is I'm going to extend this path around following the edge of the aviary. It's also going to go this way. However, I do not think I am going to extend it out that way. I think right now, here at the bottom of the aviary, the path can end here, because we've also got the train station here, and realistically, if nothing else goes further that way, I would rather just put a restaurant here than try and bother with building a path. And I think the other path connection which I would like to put is somewhere up here. I would actually like to curve a little path around and connect it up to over there. And that is number one, because right now this is not very accessible because you do have to go up and down stairs like both ways here, but also because if I have a path going up around there and then a path going across there and stuff, it leaves us with this nice little fairly small area for an enclosure. So it would have to be a small dinosaur. It couldn't be like the Therizinosaurus or a sauropod or the Spinosaurus or anything, but like I feel like there's something we could pick to go here. I don't know if anyone has any like preferences on small little herbivores or something, but if you want any of these, then just tell me in the comments. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to get to work on next. I think I'm actually going to lose my last diamond tool here as well, because I am probably going to need to do a lot of digging with this shovel. But yeah, I think I'll see you once that that is done, and I want to get up to the top of the cliff over there, because I have a really cool idea, and I really want to share it. But, like, you know, you guys can find out in, like, a minute once we're done. For now, though, we've got some paths to do. So, this time it's been over an hour, I didn't lose my shovel, and my other dinosaur is dead. Yeah, Cheese died to a zombie. Again. I don't know why I've had all of my Dimorphodons die to a zombie recently. And genuinely, I don't even know where they're spawning. Like, it's fairly lit up in there. It's quite bright, and I sleep very early. I don't know why there's zombies in there, and I don't know why the Dimorphodons keep killing them. Or, well, I suppose the other way around. But anyway, as you can see, I've got a path up here at the top of the aviary. It took so long. This has been ridiculous. And I am not done clearing out all of the space for this. I had to do much more terraforming than I thought I would, but like I've also got to do all of the terraforming between all of these paths, because if we just go and run all the way down here, as you can probably tell, I haven't really gone like mathematically correct with my paths, really. Like, you can tell with most of my paths it's normally like 4 blocks wide and an extra block if the path is shifting over by 1 block and everything, and that's how I do most of them. And I was going to do the same for this until I realized it's just so inconveniently slow. So instead, I kind of just went with what felt right. And it does mean that the path is thinner in some places, but I'm not bothered by that. I think that's gonna work well with the sort of vibe of you're climbing up a cliff face here. Is it a long path? Oh, it definitely is. It takes like a good 30 seconds to walk all the way up this. But also, I think it's probably gonna be like one of my favorite areas to walk around in the park by the end and stuff, and it leads all the way up here to the perfect spot, because this, I think, is going to be where the entrance to the T-Rex area is. But this is where that idea that I mentioned comes in. You know, the one that I said you would find out in like 1 minute from me building the path? Yeah, this is that idea. So, of course, when the path comes all the way up here, we're nice and in line with like this part of the aviary and stuff, which is great. But then, of course, you walk over here, and ignoring the fact that there's a bunch of trees in the way, you have an absolutely amazing view over all of the landscape here. I mean, just look at this. And whilst I wasn't too sure about like making separate sections and building a bunch of gates, I cannot deny the fact that if we put a massive gate here, coming up here all the way up this mountain and everything to go through a gate and see just an amazing horizon with this absolutely awesome looking enclosure is just going to be the highlight of this park, I think. So that's something I need to work on eventually, but not right now. What I do need to actually work on is terraforming this cliff, and in some ways, like, I've changed my mind a little bit about some of the stuff as I've been going through this. Like, seeing all the grass and the podzol, I'm tempted to keep some of it. Podzol's a little difficult because I don't actually have silk tut, but I feel like at least on this cliff face here... What on earth was that? Oh, it's a skeleton. Ow. I feel like at least on these sort of cliff faces down here, I would rather that it's stone, especially since we can do, you know, like the bones pointing out of it and everything. However, I might still try and include some more greenery on, like, the surfaces. Maybe just next to the paths, honestly. And I will admit, I was considering going with stone. However, since the fact that we've got, like, you know, the aviary here, which is supposed to be very similar to concrete and everything, but is, of course, made out of all of these blocks I would normally do terraforming with, I'm just wondering... do we maybe try, like, deep slate or something? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to look. Oh, by the way, I've got a backpack now as well from a creeper, and it was playing a music disc, but it didn't drop it. But, like, I can chuck all of this stuff in here now. That's useful. But I'm just thinking, like, maybe deep slate would honestly work. I don't know. I feel like stone would be good, but we've got stone here. So unless I can get something to divide it down this end, I feel like we're gonna need to go with stone. I'm not sure. Maybe wood. I could just put, like, a wooden support structure down this entire edge here. That could work. You know what? I think that is the best option, because I think stone is going to look best for the cliff, and it's not going to look the best if it's connected to this. But if we can put a nice accent of, like, a wooden support beam coming down, then it's going to separate it, and it'll look nice, and hopefully with the greenery, it'll look great. Right, I've got an idea, and I think I'm going to need to go very manual for all of this texturing and everything. It's like I'm going to need... Ooh. Oh no, just seeing this again has made me go, oh, maybe I do want to go with the dark texture. No. I think the T-Rex thing is going to need to look very tropical. It's going to be like stereotypical sort of dinosaur stuff, which means it needs to be bright, vibrant colors. But anyway, what I was saying, I think I need to go a bit more manual with the texturing. We're not going to do the randomization that I've done for most of this. It's going to be like, no, I have a specific block palette which I think will look good for this. And we're going to try and work much more with like darker to lighter colors and everything. And I think with kind of this cliff shape, but again, much more intentional texturing, hopefully gonna look much nicer. And I think other than that, there's not really too much to list, because, I mean, it's gonna be the same block palette that we use a lot, you know, like stone, andesite, polished versions of all of them and stuff. Yeah, you get it. So, with all of that said, hopefully for the final time, because, oh my gosh, I have done so much building now, let's get to work with building. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea how long it's been. Welcome back, everyone. It's actually been a couple days since the last recording that you would have seen and everything, which is why I've just sort of lost track. Where did that come from? I've just kind of lost track of everything going on, but as you can see, we have got a clip here, and I'm so proud of this. Genuinely, whilst I was building it, I was kind of going through that phase of like, this isn't gonna look good. But once it was actually done, oh my gosh, I just love the look of it. And I'm gonna need to go into Freecam to sort of give you guys a good look at it. That is just a floating block there. But if we reverse out here, as you can see, we've got this nice winding path going up. We have this really nice texturing. You can see that I sort of ditched the idea of putting a wooden pillar here. I don't know why, it just kind of slipped my mind, and honestly, it doesn't need it now like I thought it would. And I also haven't got any bones embedded into the side of it like I said that I might, and I'm still not sure about it. Like, I want to, but the thing is, they're gonna need to be at a decent scale. Because, I mean, think about it, a bone block is just another block and everything, so it's gonna take up a lot of space, and I just don't know if it would fit. Like, if we pretend that there's a rib cage poking out the wall or something, it's probably going to need to look like at least this or something, and, like, it just feels cramped. So yeah, I'm really unsure about what to do about that and everything. Like, I still like the idea of getting some fossil blocks maybe and sort of embedding it into the wall, but the thing is, I don't have silk touch, so that's its whole issue. But either way, I do just really like this. This is one of our first bits of like proper terraforming that I've done in a while, and yeah, I love how it looks. And of course, the final thing that we're just waiting for is a lot of this grass to spread and everything, because up here, like, all of this is gonna spread fairly quickly, especially since a decent bit has grown now. You've got this bit, which is mostly filled in and probably won't take too long, but then you've got this terrain down here, and this has only just started growing. So it's probably going to be a decent while before we actually get to see what this looks like with all of the grass grown and everything, but it's done, and I'm happy with it. Which means that now we can take another step closer to our T-Rex enclosure and actually come all the way up here. Oh yeah, as you can see as well, I've got this nice walkway through the cliffs and everything. I still really love how it looks up here. But of course, as I mentioned, I sort of want this path to come over here and lead through a gate and give us a nice spectacular view on the other side, which means there's gonna need to be more terraforming. Like, I'm gonna need stuff blocking your view from here and everything. Not to mention the fact that there may be a train line coming up this side of the aviary and everything, which it's a whole whole other bunch of stuff that I would need to work out for that. But I think all of that is gonna be left for next episode, because I'm happy with the progress we've made today, and also I am kind of running out of time to record. But I'm really proud of what we have here and everything, and I'm really excited to see what happens with, like, the next bit and stuff, because honestly, I just love this terraforming. It's been so long since I've done it, and I feel like if we work out a really good style and stuff, oh, the T-Rex enclosure's just gonna look amazing. I'm gonna love it. But for now, that is the end of this video here, so hopefully you have enjoyed. Hopefully you are excited for the next bit of progress on the T-Rex enclosure as well. And I will see you all next time, where hopefully we're gonna build that gate. And trust me, it will be an amazing gate.